Hello, ILHIMA members. This is Jenna Bishop-Beal. I am your president-elect. Earlier this week, our voting members received an email blast opening up the ILHIMA Board of Election. That's open until February 2nd, so make sure that you complete that ballot. We are meeting with some of our candidates, and today I am meeting with Darin Challacombe. Darin is going to be, was one of our candidates for the education director role. So Darin, before we kind of get started on your vision for this particular role, why don't you tell our members a little bit about yourself and your professional background?
Yeah, thank you, Jenna. Appreciate for you taking some time to go and do this. As Jenna mentioned, my name is Darin Challacombe. I'm work currently, or so I have been with ILHIMA for about a year now, but I've worked in the HM space for about 6 years. As far as a professional background, I have a doctorate in psychology, so I've worked kind of in that area in the education space. I've been teaching at a university for about 20 years, doing adjunct teaching. And then I've been working as director of talent development for one of the vendors that are used in the release of information space. That's what kind of my claim to this process is having that opportunity to have worked as a vendor for a while in various different companies and health plans across the great state of Illinois.
Awesome, great. And with that educational background, I am sure that you've got plenty of ideas and visions and things like that for our members. So just getting started, can you describe your understanding of this particular role as the education director for ILHIMA?
Yeah, sure. So I see this position that I'm helping to lead the charge to ensure that ILHIMA members have a wide breadth of opportunities for the entire HI space and for various career levels. The ILHIMA membership is wide. There are people that are relatively new, and there are people that have been in the field for years. Often I've seen a lot of educational opportunities that are geared more for people that are just starting out, which is fantastic. But there are also people that want to develop themselves and maybe develop out the career opportunities or other things. And so I want to be able to offer training opportunities or educational opportunities for everybody, regardless of where you are in the process or where they are in the process, how long they've been in. Um, try to focus on that so that we are able to give and really maximize the educational opportunities for ILHIMA.
That's interesting that you say that because, when I started, it was always coding, 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 and I'm not a coder. I'm privacy and compliance and risk management. So I kind of fit in this funky little Venn diagram someplace in the corner.
Mhm.
So it's really interesting to hear, to try to align and position the education offerings for all of our members, whether they're just starting out in their career, whether this is a second or third career, or they're seasoned professionals.
Yeah, I'm from, I work in release of information primarily.
Mhm.
And so again, I see a lot, I do see a lot of coding, but I also, I see it from a different perspective. But I want to not be married to one. And as we go forward, I want to just divorce myself from the idea that because it's not all ROI, it's not all privacy, it's not all coding. There's so many different areas in the widespread of HI to be able to offer training opportunities. And even if it's things along the lines of perhaps just speaking aloud, but maybe management type opportunities or other things, service opportunities, getting people connected more. AHIMA has some really good training and credentialing programs that are out there, but there's even more you can be part of. And depending on where you are in your career life cycle, uh, allowing people to have those opportunities to move forward will be really helpful for people. So that's what I would like to do with this role.
Very good, thank you. So some of experience in education and obviously with a PhD, that's great. The event planning part I was going to ask. So have you had any experience with creating mini educational events to the grand annual conference events on a local or a statewide event planning?
I have. I've served in leadership roles at other volunteer organizations. There was a for a while. I served as a president of a volunteer organization, and during that role, I had to organize a conference. This was a few years back. I had to organize a conference with it was a full day conference, 10 different speakers, something along those lines. I know the AHIMA conference is more than that, but I definitely, it's the way I've looked at this, knowing, being able to leverage the resources that are already there. I know that there are a lot of AHIMA members that are willing to volunteer and like to participate. Willing to leverage that and engage them has been really helpful, and I think that's going to be something that as we move forward, to be able to do that as we're looking at different conferences in the future, if I'm accepted into this role.
Right. I think so I was the education director for 2 years, and the way that the role is set up is that you have your first education director who's under kind of being mentored by the more seasoned second year education director. So, and I'd like to know from your perspective, I think the biggest challenge with this role is going to be able to find the educational webinars, meetings, etc., that has to occur. Well, we'd like to occur on a monthly basis, and then you take some time off for the annual conference, and then you come back and do some educational offerings, in the summertime. So, where do you find, if you're going to put together a webinar series, what kind of topics would you be interested in? Where do you find such topics?
Yeah, great. So I know that I believe you or someone in the recent past have done this before, but I'd like to solicit the members and just see what their views are on what they want to see, what educational opportunities, maybe even look at the data points from where the webinars and stuff that we've offered in the last year or 2 years, what are the ones that are the sexy topics that people always want to go to, what are the ones that are maybe not as well attended. Using that, I actually would like to, and again, coming from the vendor side of things, I see things maybe a little different, but I would like to solicit vendors, the vendors that we use, because a lot of our organizations, we use vendors. They want, many of them want to be able to, to do things and talk about them, and they're always signing up for going to conferences. If we could leverage that to some degree, again, not making sure that they're not talking about what they're doing per se, but just going over the industrial knowledge that they're familiar with, but even leveraging them might be really helpful. AHIMA puts together routine webinars and other type of educational opportunities. So making sure that AHIMA members know about that. Those are a couple of ways of moving forward. But to get back to your point, to actually find out would be to either do like a survey or look at the data, maybe even doing a open forum at the upcoming AHIMA conference to just see what are the different topics people are interested in, and then also as far as finding those, again, leveraging the talent. AHIMA members, there's a lot of talent within AHIMA to begin with. Leveraging that talent, people that want to make a name for themselves in the space or continue to make a name for themselves, maybe don't have the time to volunteer in like a position on the board of AHIMA or other organizations, but do have that time and talent to speak. Leveraging that, that's one of the sad things I think about a lot of organizations. We have so much talent within our ranks, and being able to leverage that or ask that is something I would like to make sure that we do, so we're not so we can actually learn from those that have already trodden down these paths before in the past.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you bring up some that needs assessments. So what we typically do is after the year is up and our year ends in June and it begins in July. And so what happens is pretty much all of July and August, we are reviewing the needs assessments, what our members have said of what kind of education that they want. We take a lot of the evaluations from the annual conference, and we continue to dive deeper. And then that's how we come up with our educational offerings. Or now, like this year, we've switched up the annual conference format a bit because of what the members said that they want. A lot of organizations are no longer paying for the educational CMEs, which is, I think, sad, but it's reality. So again, you bring up a great conversation and topic in regards to a needs assessment, and that's something that this particular person in this role would be doing, is looking at that as a high level and looking at it as a very individual, regional level. So, because Illinois is unique in its sense that each region, whether it's the north, central, or south, they have different characteristics about them. And so you can't, and it's interesting because this particular person in this role has to understand that. Okay, so the Northerners are going to want one topic,
Right.
and how do you align the entire state together to offer the best education possible in the best type of format? So do you use, besides WebEx, Zoom, etc., do you use other types of platforms to bring education to a member?
Sure. So I've been familiar and I've been using different types of learning management content creation software that is that my company pays for, but I have my own personal license as well that I can probably use. But with those, there's I'm a big fan of asynchronous learning. So we have the synchronous learning. Everybody we're familiar with webinars and the annual conference, but I'm a big fan of asynchronous learning where you're able to do it kind of at your own time, because people may not have the ability to step away for 30 minutes or an hour during their day to go do a lunch and learn. So being able to provide in, again, I have to figure out how that works with the credentialing programs and stuff. But I know that AHIMA and other organizations, they're open to that idea. So being able to provide those opportunities where people can learn that way would be something that I'd want to do. So videos too, being and not just taking the video recording, but maybe even just editing it around, making it more fun, maybe even editing other things or just different things so that people are engaged. Sadly, that's the thing with webinars. We're just watching somebody talk or seeing a screen there, and then the video may, they're playing a video, it may not work. So there's just some things that we can really use or do to make what we're offering more quality, or have better quality, and something that our members really want to participate in and want to watch, so they can get get their credits or get the learning just in general.
Correct. Yeah. The lunch and learns, I'm a big proponent of it. I mean, you've got 30 minutes to an hour to, get your lunch in, get your credits, and then learn something interesting. Okay, so let's kind of move along to some challenges and problem-solving techniques. And so, what sort of challenges do you anticipate facing in the role of the education director, and how would you overcome that?
Sure. So I think of two different ones that I would have. One is imposter syndrome. I struggle with that even in education and even in my role. I mean, I know I've worked in this field for a while. I know the material, but there are times in which when I'm presenting on certain topics, or when working in this area, where I may not need be fully, like I may not know things that way. And so one way to overcome that is if not only just, I mean, I have to be sure of who I am and just know that that if I know that I know it, if I don't, I don't. But the other thing is just having that intellectual humility to know that there are going to be people in the room or people on their webinar that maybe know more than I, or know more than this, and so understanding that and being open to the idea that they could, if they challenge me, great, I'm going to learn from that opportunity. It's nothing against me personally. It's just, hey, this is an opportunity for me to learn and grow from this experience. The other thing I see that might be a challenge rather with AHIMA specifically is what we call credentialism, where you have you have a lot of people that are credentials. I mean, candid with you, I may have a terminal degree, but I don't have any of the AHIMA certifications. I've done a micro cert, but other than that, I don't have it. I'm not an RHIA or RHIT. I can't, because I don't have an HIM. I didn't go through any HIM education. So if I want to get one of those degrees, I have to go back and do an associate's or something with that, so I can even sit for the testing. So that's going to be something that will be a challenge because I don't have that. I know I may have a criminal degree, but I don't have those AHIMA degrees or any other organization in the HI space that people are normally looking for. So I think that'll be the challenge with that. But again, it's I have a lot of real world knowledge from actually seeing it done, and then knowing that I have a limitation. And I always tell this whenever I train at the organization I work for. I always tell them, I may not know the answer, but I'm not going to try to lead you on and tell you something that's not right. I want you to get the right answer. We'll find the right person that knows the right answer to give that to you, and then move on from there. Just knowing that, hey, I'm there are things I'm not just gonna know because I don't have all of the background, but knowing that I can go find somebody that can do that and being understanding that it's okay to do that. That's a real big step at overcoming those two challenges.
And then the final question, I think there's a lot of hubbub with artificial intelligence. What are you seeing through, the release of information? Are you using AI? Can you foresee any great, interesting topics of the pros, cons of using AI within the HIM industry? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's odd. I'm presenting on this topic in a couple months at another conference, and so I've been working on putting together my thoughts in a more cohesive format. But I, AI's been around for a while in different forms. In like the coding field, for example, they've used AI since like the beginning 2000s, basically. So it's been around for a while. We continue to use various version or various types and more of like the symbolic AI where it's looking for certain things and growing. Uh, we're starting to see that a lot of our EMRs have the ability to start flagging documents and putting them in certain places based on certain parameters. With all of that, I think industry, a lot of people in the industry, a lot of people I would assume a lot of ILHIMA members probably are maybe afraid of, okay, well, AI is going to take my job. And I think the people that are actually I think the leaders that are really trying to use it more and more are less about removing, right? Obviously there will be people that want to remove, like feel off maybe people, but I think I see a lot of the leaders trying to use it to make their team members more productive. If we can peel off some of this manual work, and then my the HIM director or the coder or whoever else, my person who's filing the documents, they'll have greater ability to really focus in on those big issues instead of being constantly overwhelmed with problems. That we can use it as a not a crutch, but something that they can use to kind of put away some of these other things. That's what I've seen on that. I mean, with any type of solution, and maybe I haven't seen the right one, but even just with the filing of documents, there's going to be things it just doesn't know what to do with. AI is not going to be able to know what to do with it. So you're always going to need to have a trained professional, somebody that's seasoned that can actually do that. You need to have somebody that does quality assurance in there. So I look at it as being, well, this is a good solution for taking care of 20, 30, 40% of it. I'm still going to be there to really help out with that because I do have the credentials. I'm going to keep myself up to date with industry knowledge on different changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
it would be kind of interesting, kind of do as it gets moving, along in the industry, to do like a case study, ways it's helped and ways it's hindered. Has it made you more efficient, especially in the release of information? If you're not having, a clean request, is it smart enough to realize that maybe there's an error that occurred in the medical record 2 years ago that is not allowing you to release? Was it a name change? Is it smart enough to realize that there's no valid driver's license or government state ID within that medical record? So like you said, can it flag so that your specialist can look, okay, this is what I'm missing. I'm not spending an entire day digging through 10 years of a medical record to know what the error is and why I can't release something. So
yeah, and not to belabor the point, Jenna, but one of the things that my organization and I've worked on research and I'm working on right now in this space is looking at health literacy. and looking at just literacy rates across, and the forms just from the basic forms that we use, not only ROI but just some of the other, like the notice of privacy practices and other forms. They're written at a level that a lot of our seniors, a lot of people that are out there in the U.S. don't have the ability to really fully understand that. It's just like with our terms and agreements on our app, you know, where we're downloading something, we don't just skip through it. A lot of our patients don't have that ability, don't have the training, or it's fallen off, or they, you know, whatever the issue is. People are struggling to read these things, so they may say they want certain things, but they don't actually know what they're filling out. And so there's always going to be a need for somebody to really to know that, be the advocate for the patient. I mean, no one, it's my opinion, no one in the HI space is there for the money. I mean, you know, we're here to get a paycheck. Let's be honest about it. We're not here for the money. We're here because we love working with people. We love patients. We want to help people out. That's my take on things. Right. And so knowing that and being able to give those tools off, knowing that there's always going to be that need. Not everybody's going to be comfortable using the iPad or something to fill out the ROI form or do not. It's not going to be available to everybody ever. And so just knowing that and being able to do that is one of the keys. So just to your point, I really like I like talking about that, but
yeah,
that's true.
It's going to be definitely interesting. A lot of case studies, a lot of good educational that will come out of it. But Darin, really do thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. I hope our members feel the same, and good luck with the voting.
All right. Thank you so much.
Care.
All right. Have a great day.
Weekend.
Bye.
Right, bye.